What's up, everybody? Michael Silva here to do a technical analysis update on the S&P 500. We're looking at the SPX right now. But before we get into the technicals, I've been thinking, and most of my thinking is probably completely inaccurate, but I need to share it with you because it does potentially hold weight as to why the stock market has been running rampant and going up and breaking records, moving up this quick. Well, the easy answer as to why the market has been going up is the Federal Reserves had been stepping in since late last year into the repo market, and then they created basically QE infinity, went nuclear with that, and we're starting to see a lot of the liquidity being pumped into the markets, which are pushing the price up. But then I got to thinking, a lot of my friends have been hitting me up and asking me, hey, what stock should I buy? What, this or that. And I'm thinking, like, these guys don't even buy stocks, trade stocks, do anything to do with the stock market. Why out of nowhere are all these people wanting to do this? And if you take back to 2008 and you really start thinking of the psychology here, is the number one thing that people missed out on in 2008 and 2009 was buying when there was blood in the streets, right? Warren Buffett's famous quote has to do with basically buy when others are fearful, and then sell when other people are greedy, or something like on those lines. Well, a lot of people missed out on buying the bottom of that market. And then now looking back at it, they thought, hey, with the stock market pulls back that much, next time I'm gonna be buying in. I'm not gonna have any fear whatsoever. Okay, so that's one piece. Now the stock market did this huge pullback. We hear stuff about the Fed. People are looking at this like, hey, this is an amazing buying opportunity because it's never gonna go this low again. So we start seeing prices drive up. But where's all this money coming from? Well, a big part of the market that I think is coming into this, like money on the sidelines, is if you take a look at what's going on in the economy, right? There's all the fundamentals are basically saying, hey, this is horrible. Like, this shouldn't be happening, but it is going up. So what's closed down that brings in a lot of revenue? Casinos. Casinos bring in a lot of money every year throughout the United States. And you got to think, okay, and 80% of that revenue is typically made by the slot machines, right? People gambling. So where's that money going? Well, I looked up some statistics just to get a good idea of how much money and revenue is brought in by the casinos. Now, I don't have all the most updated data, but here is in revenue in billions. So from 2004 to 2018, you see this steady increase. So I can only imagine it's more than $79 billion of revenue that's been basically shut off by the casinos, because casinos are not open and they might not be for a while. Okay, so that I found very interesting. Where is this money going? People like to gamble. Are they gambling in the stock market? Well, let's look at something else. Here is the online United States Casino.com website. This looks like it was updated in 2019. I want to go ahead and focus in on this chart here. The revenues, the total revenues for these different types of casinos. We have commercial casinos, tribal casinos, poker rooms, lottery, legal bookings, etc., etc. Total revenue, $158.54 billion. So all this revenue has been pretty much cut at the wayside. Like the casinos are not making any money, at least that I know of going on right now. So I feel as if there's a lot of money on the sidelines that could be placed in, and your typical, person that goes to a casino doesn't necessarily know how to short a market. They know how to buy long, and you invest for the long term. So this is just random little statistics about why potentially the market could be moving up. Is we have a lot of people gambling right now. Now, it's not just casinos that I'm talking about. The sports industry is completely shut down. So there's a lot of sports betting revenue also on the sidelines. So just to bring up this, here's some of the states here. $20 billion. This was last updated March 22nd, 2020. Where's all this money being spent now? Now, I'm just trying to think of it. I'm just thinking in my own personal economy. I've had people that do a lot of sports betting, okay, are huge sports bettors that love going to the casinos, that love playing poker, and they've been basically shut off, right? And now I'm being hit up by these very same people on where can I invest my money, right? So a lot of this money that they were playing with sports bets, doing that, it's going into the stock market. And I don't have the chart for this per se, but Robinhood accounts have been exploding. TD Ameritrade accounts have been exploding. And you tie this all in with the fact that they cut off commissions where it's $0 commissions to place trades. This is just a whirlwind of money that could be coming into the stock market, helping propel it up more. And not to mention, all we're hearing from the president, Jerome Powell, is we're hearing things that are just positive, good things that are going, even despite bad numbers. Now, why is that important? Well, it's not necessarily that it is important. I just want to kind of expand your mind a little bit into as to like where can all this money be coming from? I mean, we have, what was it? Another 3 million job losses, and yet stocks are basically going up. Like we're at record job losses. We're going to be hitting record unemployment levels, and yet the stock market's up. So woo, you know, you lost your job, but at least the stock market's up, right? Oh, that's amazing. And then we have, I mean, I'm just seeing in the comments, like, it's just interesting to see that everyone's like, technicals don't matter, you know, the Powell's going to be making the stock market go to the moon, this and that. And for all I know, they might be right, but it's just interesting to look at it from other perspectives. I think that just the casino industry alone, another famous sports bettor, what's his name? Mike Portney or some Dave Portney. He has been going live on Twitter and Periscope just showing that he's a stock trader now. He doesn't even know what he's doing. It's, I think, for just entertainment. He was even on Varney, and he was saying that he bought 30,000 shares of Lululemon. It's just freaking hilarious watching him. Here, I'll throw up a clip of him day trading.
Who's Davey Day Trader?
Portnoy.
Oh,
That's another one of his content series.
He day trades?
Yeah,
That's great.
Every day.
Go down, go up, like, oh,
Even Tobias Funkmaster Funk's getting into it. Let's keep pushing this. Let's keep get up to that quarter milli. They tried to sink this ship. This ship cannot be sunk. They've been trying to take me out for 15 years, 17 years since I started this company. People have been click. Doesn't happen. I'm rubber, you're glue. What you fire at me bounces off and sinks you.
Okay, so that is just one really famous sports bettor. He owns Barstool Sports, or he created Barstool Sports. I'm not too familiar with them. But let's go ahead and just dive into the technicals. That's my little daily rant for the day. My last video that I recorded was on the gap and trap. That was this day right here, this nice red candle. Basically what a gap and trap is it jumped up, moved down. That didn't stop the stock market from moving up the next day, though. That I didn't post a video for that day. And then this red candle here is today. So this is what I've noticed. I brought up the fib levels. You've seen these charts before. There's a bunch of people on YouTube doing them. I'm just another one there. But it kind of formed this like little bit of a wick right up here, kind of getting blocked by that 61% level. And then today we saw this down pull. Now, personally, I'll tell you what I'm doing. I have now positioned myself short, and it's not like I'm putting in my entire portfolio, but a very small relative to my portfolio size in a short position, because we're at this fib level, right? I feel like this is good risk versus reward, and we have this trend line going up. So it's getting really, really squeezed right here. So I'm speculating, saying, hey, I think it might drop down to the 2,800 level. I did 280 puts on the SPY till May 15th. So can we see it drop? Yeah. But if we see it go higher, I'm not all too worried, because I plan on scaling in very slowly. I've only bought like a contract or two up until that level right here. So if it doesn't hit this, I'm already in, so good. But if it does go past this, I can easily flip the position to go long, or I can just get out and call it, a losing trade. But what happened exactly the day to push it up this level after a bearish day? Well, Gilead came out and said that, I think it was remdesivir, is showing signs of potentially it's working to not cure what's going on in the pandemic, but to help, give more time to eventually find a vaccine for what's going on. And the rally marketed on that news. We also had some decent earnings come out, not as bad as expected. So now we're kind of been going sideways. Now, if you look at these two levels between the 50 and the 61%, it's kind of in that sort of channel. I drew out a channel on my previous video, the bull trap kind of coiling, and we were still somewhat in that range. I think the line was really right here, the top of the channel. I think the top of the channel that I drew out was just right here. And if you notice, I'll zoom in. If you notice, it broke out that channel, right? But then this candle today came back and back tested almost perfectly. So That's what happens when support is broken, or sorry, yeah, when resistance is broken, it becomes support, and it typically comes back to back test. So this might have been the back test to a higher move, or it might be just some pressure to the downside because there's a lot of resistance here. So this is where I am personally building into a short position to hopefully capture some moves down to the bottom of this channel. But gosh, man, it could be in anybody's court right now. It really can be. But here's another thing I wanted to point out. Notice on this big drop, this was when all the mayhem happened, how volume, I'm gonna draw it out, how volume kind of picked up, but yet on this huge move to the upside that's breaking records, right? Volume's been tapering down. So it's interesting to see that on a move of this magnitude, volume is kind of going down. Now we had a couple big days here, but it's making me think potentially that maybe it's short coverings, maybe we are just going into a full-blown recovery. Other indicator is the squiggly lines down here, the MACD. Not showing us much still. I mean, it's still like kind of losing its momentum, but it still has a nice good spread. It's above zero, kind of hard to tell. It's really just a waiting game at this point to really see what's going to be taking place. But today felt like a really good opportunity to start building my position. I'm not saying that you have to do the same thing. You can simply speculate on the long side here and then just have a stop loss that's tight if it breaks the trend line. Me, per se, I just wanted to go short, and if it breaks the trend line, I'll get stopped out up here. Either way, it's a very, very good area to start building a position, whether you're a bull or a bear, because the risk versus reward on both sides, you're at a major resistance / support area. So you're not going to lose much, but you have the potential to gain a lot. So for example, if it broke to the upside and even touched this 78% retracement level, I mean, I would say that it's going to struggle for the 3,000 marker, but if it broke up to the upside, hey, you capture a really good gain, especially if you're doing leveraged trades, which I don't recommend you doing unless if you have, experience doing that. And if it breaks this trend line and comes down back test the 50-day moving average or this 2,800 or 50% retracement level, that's a really good trade, especially when you're doing options to trade that. All right, so just to wrap it all up, I just gave you some insight into why I think the market's going up. Yeah, I think the Fed has the biggest the biggest sort of like push and bump to it, and the stock market's been rallying on good news, bad news, whatever. I think that the casino revenue, the online sports betting revenue, the online casinos revenue, I think a lot of that money is flowing into the stock market because you can treat this as gambling or you can treat it as a professional. The market doesn't care either way. And then lastly, we just discussed, why I'm building in a short position at this very moment. I'm just, that's what I want to do. You can go long, you can go short. It doesn't really matter at this point because the risk versus reward is good on either side, in my personal opinion. That's all I have for you today. Everybody, have a good day. And I'll see you on the next video.